They were dead wrong. When Google started trading on Wall Street, many of the analysts claimed that the IPO was overpriced, and they were wrong. Google has made thousands of investors over the years, multi-millionaires. They have grown to become a multi-trillion-dollar giant, and they've just begun. They're also currently heavily invested in the AI revolution, including self-driving vehicles, Waymo, currently driving in several cities today. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, they also own YouTube. If you're late to the game, don't worry. This company is going to make many of new investors millionaires, so don't miss out. Subscribe now and stay informed. In this video, first we're going to cover some of the incredible, fascinating facts about this company and why they are currently a global leader. Then we're going to look at some current fundamentals of the company. And then third, we're going to take a look, so we're not guessing, when are we going to buy this stock? We're going to take a look at some of the technical analysis to see when are some of the key areas to buy this amazing company. I've been trading and investing in the stock market for over 25 years. I respect and appreciate your time. So let's get right into the video. In 1996, Sergey Brin and Larry Page met at Stanford University. These two PhD students launched a project in a garage that would forever change how the world searches for information. The search engine they developed was called Backrub. The name Backrub came from the key engine's innovation analyzing backlinks to a web page. Larry Page developed an idea called PageRank, where the number and quality of the links pointing to a web page would determine the importance or relevance. In 1997, they registered the domain name Google.com. The word Google is a play on a mathematical term, Google, which refers to the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. The term Google was coined by Milton Serrata, a 9-year-old nephew of an American mathematician, Edward Kasner, in the 1930s. With the help from Sun Microsystems co-founder Andy Bechtolsheim, who wrote a $100,000 check on the spot to Larry and Sergey, Google incorporated on September 4th of 1998. Now at this time, many of the analysts and skeptics of Google, they did not support this stock. It was all over the news that the company, that it's overvalued, it's overrated, and the stock would sell off, and they were just dead wrong. Google soon became a Wall Street darling. In 2000, Google launches AdWords, reshaping online advertising. Now on April 1st of 2004, Gmail was launched. Their competitors Hotmail and Yahoo knew that Google was about to change the internet forever. In 2005, Google acquires Android Inc., setting the stage for the smartphone dominance. In 2006, Google buys YouTube for $1.65 billion. YouTube currently has over 2.5 billion users monthly. In 2007, Google launches Android operating system. Now, Android powers over 70% of the world's smartphone today. 2008, Google launches Google Chrome. Before Google Chrome, the popular choices were Internet Explorer and Firefox. In 2012, Google Now was a virtual assistant. That's right, artificial intelligence was being used at that time. Also in 2012, Google Drive was launched. Google Drive as a cloud storage brings in over $35 billion a year and now has over 2 billion users worldwide. In 2015, Google restructured a new parent company called Alphabet Inc. Now, what this did is this allowed each Alphabet subsidiary could operate more independently with its own CEO and budget, so they all could be held accountable for their own projects. Now, when we fast forward to 2025, today Google is not just a search engine. It's in your phone, it's in your home, it's in your car, it's your AI-powered assistant. 93% of the global internet searches run through Google. Now let's take a look at the financial fundamentals of this corporation. Now, if there's something that you would like us to know about that we possibly missed, make a comment below. We're looking at July 2nd, closed. Google closed at $178.64. And what we want to take a look at is the year ranges. The 52-week low is $140.53, and the 52-week high is $207. Now, the market cap is currently at $2.17 trillion. That's pretty substantial. Now, the average daily volume is 43 million shares traded per day. Now, why this is important, when we get into the charts, We're going to look at volume patterns. We're going to look at volume analysis. And this is going to help us determine when do we want to get into this stock. That's when that's going to become important. And the current PE for this stock is 20 and change. So let's take a look at the financials real quick here. When we look at March of 2024, the revenue was 80 billion and change, and the net income was 23 billion and change. And when we fast forward to a year later, the revenue was 90 billion and change, and the net income is 34 billion and change. Here's the revenue we looked at. That is a year-over-year 12% increase. Now we have the operating expense of 23 billion, the net income of 34 billion. Our net profit is $38 billion. If we look at the net income, that's a 45% increase from the previous year, and the net profit is 30% over the previous year. I want to take a look at the balance sheet real quick. When we look at March of 2024, a year ago, the total assets were 407 billion, and the liabilities were 114 billion. That's a pretty decent ratio. When we fast forward a year later, the total assets are 475 billion and the total liabilities are 130 billion. Now, if we look at the cash and the short-term investments at 95 billion, that's an 11% decrease from last year. When we look at the total assets, we have 475 billion. That's an increase of 16%. When we look at the liabilities, we're at 130 billion. That's a 13% increase. The total equity is $345 billion. These are the type of companies that you want to be heavily invested in. You know, when markets go into downturns, all the stocks will get hit, but these companies, they will recover and they will do substantially well. Now, as you can see, the company's doing very well financially. They have a substantial amount of cash to invest in the AI boom that we are currently in. Now, Google is a global giant. They're an innovator and they are currently one of the leaders. Leave a comment below. What's on your mind? Now let's get into the charts to see when is a great time to put our money to work. We want to dollar cost average our way into this company. What I like to do when I start an analysis on a company is I like to open it up to a 20-year monthly chart. This gives you a good broad view of how this company has done in the past few years. And when you see the chart is primarily heading in an upward direction, now you have a downdraft here, but it's shooting back up. The primary move is to the upward direction. This is what you want. This is what you want to see, and this is what you want to invest in. Now you do have to know that, you know, there's going to be crashes along the way. Now, when the stock market crashes, these are opportunities to buy in. And when we go into recessions and we have bear markets, you can dollar cost average your way into this stock. Let's get a little more granular. Each candle represents 1 week. This is our 2022 10-month bear market. When we go into a bear market, which happens from time to time, you don't know when it's going to happen, but it definitely is going to happen, and the stock market is definitely going to crash. And then our 52-week high is 207.05. Now we're currently trading at 178.64. So we've had a nice little downdraft here for 3 months. Now this was the president announced the tariffs and then we were in a correction at the time anyway. And then once he put the entire planet on notice that we're going to impose tariffs on everybody, well, that kind of, affected the market in a big way. That catalyst was not sustainable. I did a video talking about it's not sustainable. These are words. This is going to be okay. This is a time to buy more. And what you have to think about is the market is going to pull back at least once, sometimes twice a year at a 10, 12 to 15% pullback ratio 2 times a year. So when these pullbacks happen, those are good times to get into the market and to dollar cost average your way into the market. So now when we take a look at this stock here, we are currently in a 3-month bull phase. We're going to draw support and resistance areas. So the 207.05 is going to give us resistance going forward. 192.75 is going to give us resistance going forward. And this area here, 174.97 is going to give us resistance. But now here's what happened that I want you to take a look at. We're going to look at this volume spike here, right? which is this day here. It busted through the resistance area of 174.97, currently trading at 178.64 on substantially heavier volume. This is institutions coming in with big money that's buying into this stock. That's where the money's at, and you're going to manage your risk. That is the key to success in this industry, is a well-balanced portfolio and to manage your risk. So to give you an example, dollar cost averaging our way into this stock. As the stock breaks through here on this volume, there are no guarantees in the market. It can break support now and go all the way back down. It certainly can. There are no guarantees. But what technical analysis will do for you, it's going to increase your percentage of probabilities and increase your percentage of profitability. The more due diligence and the more technical analysis you do on your analysis, that is going to increase your ratio. And that's what we want. We want the house edge. When you go to Vegas and you're gambling, well, they have the edge. Who pays for those big buildings? Who pays for all those lights, that nice carpet, all those machines, all the fancy stuff out there? You and I, we pay for that when we go there and gamble, or when we go there and eat, or when we spend our time there. That's who pays for it. We pay for it because they have the house edge. And we want the house edge in the stock market by educating ourselves. That's what we want to do. We want to fact check everyone's information, and it's a great idea to look at the channels of the different YouTube channels out there. There's a lot of fake gurus out there. There's a lot of shenanigans out there, and there's a lot of great information and great companies out there. And you want to educate yourself on all of them, because you want to recognize the ones that are shenanigans and that are, fake gurus and take $10, turn it into $1 million in, 3 weeks, nonsense like that. If it seems too good to be true, then it's too good to be true. I hope this was helpful. God bless, and have a great day. If you'd like to stay informed on the latest, greatest companies that drive the stock market, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. We want to know what's on your mind. There's enough money in the stock market for everyone. But always remember that the bulls get fed, the bears get fed, but the pigs get